Hey everybody, welcome. This is No Bones About Wrestling. It's Monday night, it's 6 p.m., so that means it is time once again for AEW Weekly, your weekly fix of all things all elite. We're going to bring you some results, some rankings, our opinions, some jokes, good, bad, and indifferent, and some other things tonight as well. I'm one of your hosts, Asa, and this is my co-host, Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And let's get right into it, shall we?
Sounds good.
Get right into it with some show recaps. And if you've been with us the last couple of weeks, you've noticed we've changed how we do things. We've added some new segments, taken away some old ones, kept some old ones, and so we're still kind of reordering things. So yeah, that's where we're at. So yeah, the show recaps will be pretty quick, and we'll get on to talking about some other things. Dynamite, January 24th in Savannah, Georgia. Samoa Joe came out and talked about being the world champion, and then Hook came out and spoke in Samoa Joe's ear. And what did he say? He said, "Somewhere I'm going to see you again," yeah?
Something like that, yeah.
And then Joe demanded that security remove Hook, and Hook put down 3 security guards with different, suplexes. And then he left. Kind of a flat segment, I felt.
Joe was doing such a good promo until Hook came out. Like, Joe's promo was good. And then Hook came out, and then that's when it fell flat. Nothing against Hook. But, like, that kid doesn't talk normally, and he should stick with that.
Yeah, it was just...
Like, it kind of ruins his mystique to hear him talking. Especially, like, he was talking like a caveman kind of. He wasn't saying complete sentences. He was just saying, like, you, me, win, lost. Like, it was just odd.
Yeah, it was strange. And it was weird that Joe had needed security guards to go after Hook, too. Didn't he just beat the shit out of him 2 weeks ago?
I took it more as like a he couldn't be bothered thing.
Well,
like,
I think that's what's supposed to be.
Plus, he was wearing his nice fancy suit, like, I'm not going to mess my suit up dealing with riffraff. Security, go take care of it.
I mean, that's what it's supposed to be, but... yeah, that segment didn't come off very well. After that, we got Hangman Adam Page versus Penta El Zero Miedo. We had a nice standing shooting star press by Page. Penta hit a somersault dive out of the ring, hit a made in Japan. We had a moonsault off the top to the outside by Page, and then a buckshot lariat for the pin and the win by Page. Very good match. Hangman Page came out on top. 4.5 bones out of 5. Up next, International Champion Orange Cassidy accepted Roderick Strong's challenge for Revolution on March 3rd in Greensboro, and Cassidy also said he's defending his belt on Collision. Next, the Young Bucks see Alex Marvez in the hall, and they tell Marvez they want to be called their passport names, Nicholas and Matthew. They then see Top Flight, and they ask them, are you late? And then they threaten to fine them and say they're just kidding. And we'll talk more about the Young Bucks' new direction in a little bit here. Up next, we got Trent Beretta versus Wardlow, the kind of machine of the Undisputed Kingdom. Trent threw a chair at Wardlow twice. Trent hit a pile driver, but it all ended with a Wardlow powerbomb for the pin and the win. This match was just okay. It was just kind of there. 3 bones out of 5. After the match, the Undisputed Kingdom and the Best Friends faced off in the ring. It was a stare down, and the Undisputed Kingdom called off Wardlow, so there were no physical altercation. After that, we got an Adam Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki hype video. And then we got a Tony Storm and Deonna Purrazzo sit-down interview. And they split the screen between black and white on Tony Storm's side and color on Deonna Purrazzo's side. That was pretty cool, I thought. And it was revealed that the two ladies once lived together and that they have matching ankle tattoos. Purrazzo eventually put Storm in the Venus de Milo, but Mariah May helped Storm out of it. May and Storm ran away. Purrazzo held aloft the women's world title and then threw it at Luther. And then Luther, of course, took it back to May and Storm. So it looks like we're headed towards Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo at Revolution, is my guess. I don't know. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, too. Next, we got a Jon Moxley promo. He talks about his and the Blackpool Combat Club's dedication to wrestling and intensity, basically. Then we get a Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie promo. Taya Valkyrie challenges Deonna Purrazzo for next week on Dynamite. And then we get Swerve Strickland and Jeff Hardy. Pretty good match. Jeff Hardy hit a twist of fate on the metal ring steps. But Swerve won eventually with a Swerve stomp. He got the pin and the win. 4 bones out of 5. Pretty good match. After that, Swerve and Hangman got into an argument in the hallway, and it turns out they'll both be in what's called a dealer's choice matches next week, where they're choosing one another's opponents. After that, we got Thunder Rosa versus Red Velvet. Thunder Rosa hit the Tijuana Bomb for the pin and the win. Gave this match 3.5 bones out of 5. Next, Sting and Darby Allin have said with their undefeated record, they want a shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles. And we saw Matthew and Nicholas Jackson watching in the back on monitors, I should say. After that, Big Bill and Ricky Starks accept the challenge, and Starks says that they'll win over Sting and Allin. And then we get an AEW World Trios title match. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass defending against Brian Cage in the Gates of Agony. We saw the Guns double powerbomb Prince Nana through a table. Match ended on a mic drop, elbow drop by Caster, pinned by Daddy Ass. The Acclaimed retained belts. This was 4 bones out of 5. Pretty good match. Main event of Dynamite was Adam Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki. Copeland hit the kill switch, Christian Cage's finisher, and got the pin and the win and on Suzuki. And this match, 4 bones out of 5. So
what was your match of the night?
Match of the night was Hangman Page getting the win over Penta El Zero Miedo, 4.5 bones out of 5. AEW Collision, January 27th in Bossier City, Louisiana, which I had never heard of before. We got opened with a tag team match. We saw Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli take on Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. And Moxley picked up the win with a rear naked choke on Taylor. He knocked him out. And Moxley and Castagnoli got the win. I gave that match 3.5 bones out of 5. After that, the Kingdom and Roderick Strong are with Commander, who's getting an international title shot. And they said that they'll help him win the belt if Roderick Strong still gets a title shot. And Commander, he kind of agrees, but kind of doesn't. He obviously doesn't want their help. And the Cassidy and Commander match, pretty good. There was a rough-looking Canadian destroyer by Commander. Cassidy landed pretty much right on his head, kind of a little sideways, but right on his head. We got a beach break by Orange Cassidy for a 2 count. Commander Hurricane Ronald, Orange Cassidy off the middle rope. Commander moonsaulted onto the Kingdom members. And Orange Cassidy hit an orange punch for the pin and the win. Very good match. 4 bones out of 5. And Cassidy keeps the international title. After that, we saw an interview with Toni Storm, Mariah May, and Luther after Dynamite, where they're talking about Deonna Purrazzo. And then we had Mariah May versus Lady Frost match. This was okay. Some kind of sloppy spots by Lady Frost. Mariah May looked good, though. Gave this one 2.5 bones out of 5. Mariah May got the win. And I mentioned the the dealer's choice, where Swerve Strickland is going to pick Hangman's opponent, and Hangman is going to pick Swerve's opponent. So Swerve picks Toa Leona for Hangman Page. So
of the Mogul Embassy.
Right. So we're going to see Toa Leona versus Hangman Page on Dynamite.
It'll be Toa Leona's first singles match in AEW.
Should be cool. Hangman says that he doesn't think that he has to tell Swerve who he's picked for him, and that he's going to make Swerve wait, quote, the whole effing show to find out. So immediately, we get her. Immediately, my guess is, Rob Van Dam. And I think that's who we're going to see. I think we're going to see Swerve Strickland and Rob Van Dam. Up next, we get a non-title match. Continental Champion Eddie Kingston took on Willie Mack. And Kingston picked up the win with a spinning back fist to get the pin and the win. This match, fairly short, 3 bones out of 5. Up next, we got Bryan Danielson taking on the 50-plus-year-old Yuji Nagata, former WCW star Yuji Nagata. We saw Danielson hit his yes kicks. We saw Nagata slap on an arm bar and roll his eyes back into his head, which apparently is a warning that he's going to go crazy and maybe snap someone's arm. Danielson got out of this, got to the ropes, and eventually hit his Busaiko knee to get the pin and the win. Danielson picks up the win, 4 bones out of 5. That match was very good one. In the main event, we see that it's supposed to be Daniel Garcia and FTR versus the House of Black, but we saw that Daniel Garcia was left bloodied in the back. Mark Briscoe volunteers to team up with FTR in the main event. So now it's Mark Briscoe and FTR versus the House of Black in this steel cage. You have to escape the steel cage. All 3 members of the Trios team have to escape the steel cage to win. Brian Cage is dissing Hook. FTW champion Hook comes up and tells Cage anytime he wants a shot at the FTW title, he's here. So Hook, just talking to all the big guys this week. We got Serena Deeb's return match, her first match since 2022. She took on Robin Renegade in a squash match. Deeb won by submission to the Serenity Lock. She then cut a promo and did a very good job getting over her passion for her return to the ring. We then got a CMLL video package highlighting the Mexican stars who are going to come to Rampage in the next week here. Should be very entertaining there. And then the main event was the Steel Cage Escape Elimination match with the House of Black versus Mark Briscoe and FTR. But just as the match was supposed to start, the House of Black attacked Mark Briscoe, threw him off the ramp, through a table. And so here comes out of the back Daniel Garcia limping out of the back to take his rightful place in the match.
With his head all bandaged up.
Yeah, like he's in a Monty Python sketch or something. So now it's Daniel Garcia and FTR versus the House of Black. Very good match. Some good spots, some good drama here, with the men going out kind of one at a time and some strategy used, because if you go out, if you escape, that's good for your team. But then, of course, it leaves your teammates in there. They're at a disadvantage, 3-on-2 now in the steel cage. So there's some interesting strategizing on the team's parts. This really came down to the wire. It came down to Malachi Black and Daniel Garcia in the ring. And Daniel Garcia was trying to escape, and Julia Hart came out from under the ring, blew black mist in Daniel Garcia's eyes, and he couldn't see what the fuck he was doing. And it became a race. Malachi Black was trying to get through the cage door. Daniel Garcia was trying to get up and over the steel cage. And as Black got to the cage door, Mark Briscoe had recovered. He slams the cage door on Malachi Black's head. Daniel Garcia gets up and over, and Daniel Garcia and FTR pick up the win. Very entertaining match, 4.5 bones out of 5. And that was the match of the night on Collision.
What's the match of the week?
Match of the week. I gotta go with the cage match, probably. Pretty entertaining match, I have to say.
Interesting, because you gave the other one a higher rating.
No, I gave both of them 4.5 bones.
Oh, I only heard for 4 for the cage one. I didn't realize it was 4.5.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen let me see if I can say it, an elimination escape the cage match before? Where the goal is for your entire team to get out of the cage?
I feel like I have, but with trios, I don't know if I have.
I've
With
never
3
seen
guys,
that
3 on
before.
3, I don't know if I have. So those are your results for this week. Pretty good action in AEW this week. And some guys were missing off of Collision. The Jericho Cruise was this week. So we didn't get any Jericho. Sammy Guevara, Swerve Strickland was on the cruise. I don't know who else was, but I know those guys were.
Aubrey was reffing on it, I think.
And there you go. But still, two good shows. Good wrestling all around this week. The only real down stuff was the Wardlow and Trent Beretta match on Dynamite wasn't so hot, and the Mariah May and whoever that was, Mariah May and whomever.
Lady Frost, wasn't it?
And Lady Frost was not good. And that's about it, though. The rest of the wrestling was pretty good on AEW. So next, we're gonna do one of our newer segments, where we take a closer look at something. And tonight, it's going to be a closer look at World Women's Champion Toni Storm and some of her challengers. So it seems like the women's division is heating up, really. We have new challengers. Serena Deeb is just returning. Mariah May has just debuted recently. We have some women set to come in.
Deonna
Purrazzo just came in. So some women are kind of closing in on Toni Storm and her world title, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit right now. First, let's talk about Deonna Purrazzo. So we find out these ladies once lived together. They trained together in this dojo, apparently. I don't know much about this. And they have matching tattoos. I couldn't tell what the tattoos were.
It looks like it was a duck wearing like space age sunglasses. I don't know if that's what it was, but that's what it looked like from the angle that they showed it on Collision.
Or as Toni Storm would call them, tattoos.
Tattoos, yes.
But so they seem bonded in the past, and although Toni Storm seems to want to forget everyone from her past, saying she's had many friends and been more talented than all of them.
I have a matching tattoo with someone, and I haven't talked to them in like 20 years.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I can kind of see growing past your matching tattoo friend.
What's the matching tattoo?
It's of half a face from the movie Hedwig and the Angry Inch, from the Origins of Love scene, where it's like animation style. It's half of a face, and then my friend has the other half.
I see.
Did you not know this, or was this for the audience?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure if I knew that. No.
Yeah, it's on my hip.
Not sure if I knew that was a matching tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
So Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuosa, she likes calling herself. What do you make of this challenge to Toni Storm? You think they're headed for a showdown at Revolution, the pay-per-view, like it looks?
It does look that way. I feel like that's rushing it a little bit, especially because they do have this history, which we all just found out about. And like Deonna Purrazzo is so new. I kind of wish they would slow it down a little bit. Because it definitely feels like with MJF, it felt like he was being surrounded on all corners and like the world was shrinking in on him. But with Toni Storm, it feels like they're forming a line. And I'd much prefer converging storylines, like, and her feeling like everyone's after her, than like, it's not my turn yet, so I'm going to wait until after she's done, and then I'm going to step forward. Yeah.
So could Purrazzo take the belt off of Tony?
She could, but she's not going to.
She could, but she's not going to. Okay. I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
Could, but she's not going to. All right, let's move on.
Will this be? No, I have a question. Will this be Tony's first, like, big defense? Who did she wrestle last?
I'm trying to remember.
She wrestled someone at World's End, didn't she?
She wrestled someone at World's End, didn't she? Yeah.
Who the hell was
I
that?
can't recall. I know Julia Hart wrestled Abaddon. Tony Storm wrestled.
It wasn't Sheeta, right?
I don't
And
think so.
It wasn't Soraya.
No. Was it?
No. Was it? It was very memorable.
Yeah, obviously it was very memorable.
Yeah.
Might have been Saraya. Honestly,
No.
don't remember. I don't remember. Might have been.
I can't think of who else it would have been. Maybe she didn't have. Maybe she had to have had a match because they had 2 women's matches.
Yeah.
So this is not her first defense. That was gonna be my question. Is this like her first big defense?
Yeah, no, I honestly can't remember who she defended against at World's End.
Oh, it was the little one. What's her name?
Oh yeah, right, Riho.
Riho.
That's right. That's why. Yeah, that
Yeah,
match.
because she showed up and then immediately disappeared. That's why we forgot about her.
Yeah, that match wasn't very
It was very
memorable.
fleeting.
Yeah.
Not a good match. An okay match, not a great match. So I feel like this is her first real challenger. No offense to Riho, but come on.
Yeah,
and
she
so
made short work of Riho.
Yeah. She gobbled her up like a green grape, as she said she was going to.
True.
But yeah, I wish they would take their time a little bit more and maybe have like, not to lead to a 3-way match, but like, I wish they'd had like Serena and Purrazzo having their stories happen at the same time instead of like delaying Serena's debut to like after they build up Deonna. And we have to, I'm going to just go ahead and drop her name because we're going to say it eventually. Like, you have to think Mercedes Moné is coming at some point pretty definitely now, I feel like. And so are they just going to put the belt on her right away? Is she going to enter this line? Is there going to be some story with her going after the title immediately? Or is she going to go after one of these other women for her spot in the queue? Like, and now Thunder Rosa in her last match said, like, basically put Tony Storm on notice.
Well, we were getting there. I was getting there.
I'm sorry.
Just getting all ahead of
I'm
things.
sorry. Go ahead.
So next,
I was getting into it. I'm sorry.
Serena Deeb, who just returned. She had a very good win over Robin Renegade. She looked very good.
They need the Renegades on there more.
Do they?
Yeah, for like jobber women, like they do a good job.
Yeah.
Like get Charlotte Renegade too. Like put her in there instead of Lady Frost.
I agree. Yeah, they do. They look good.
Yeah.
Do a believable job.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
They're good at selling.
Serena Deeb came in, got the win over Robin Renegade, and looked good, and pretty much cut a promo like she's headed for the world title. And so now, do you think she's in line? Is she second in line? Is that how it seems?
That's how I'm viewing it, and I feel like that's how they're portraying it. Because then when Taya Valkyrie cut that promo with Johnny TV on Deonna Purrazzo, she was like, "You're cutting in line," which like Taya Valkyrie hasn't been on AEW in like months.
Yeah,
like,
she's been in Ring of Honor, hasn't she?
Ring of Honor, yeah. So like, was she even in line? Like, she's cutting in line in front of this woman that we haven't seen in forever. How long is this damn line? You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would put her second. Which is crazy since she's only had one match and it was against a jobber. But I guess they're going on the history of these women rather than what we've seen from them in AEW recently.
Well, she does have her own flag, so that goes a long way.
2 flags? Because she had the flag that she was carrying on the flagpole that she put in her special flag stand, which was by the ring. But then she had what also looked like a white flag with black writing that was like wrapped around her neck that she then put on around the neck of a fan.
I did not notice the second flag.
Because I thought it was a scarf at first, and I was like, it's a really stiff-looking scarf. And so I think it was a flag. It was like white with black writing on it. But no one ever held it up for us to see what it said.
Did not notice the second flag.
A woman with 2 flags.
But she certainly looked very good in her return to the ring. I feel like I'm getting sick.
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Not a lot of energy tonight.
Some woman in
our condo complex told us to get up. She said they're going to come and check on the roofs at sometime between 8:30 and 10 in the morning. Today was my day off. I value my sleep very much, but I got up at 8 in the morning, so I'd be there to let the guys with the ladders through into our backyard. No one ever fucking came, so I got up at 8 a.m. on my day off for nothing, and I'm tired. I'm paying for it, as you can see in my eyes. Anyway, but I'm trying to gather it for you, our loyal viewers. Trying to gather my energy. Serena Deeb, though, back to my point, she looked very good in her return. Kind of like the female excellence of execution is how I see her. You know, like female Bret Hart.
Wow, that's a really high compliment.
That's kind of how I see her.
After one match?
One match back.
But I mean, isn't that the only match you've seen her in?
No.
Oh, you saw her before?
Yeah, I've seen every AEW match that.
Because you went back and watched them.
That hasn't taken place on Dark or Dark Elevation.
See, this was the first time I've ever seen her.
Yeah. Minus some of the women's matches. Their women's division used to be very sloppy. So I wouldn't watch some of the matches.
I would fast forward.
Yeah. But it's as we're pointing out, it's getting much better. Mm-hmm. So next on this list of challengers for Toni Storm, another return, Thunder Rosa, who had a match. Who did she face this week? On Collision, she beat
Red Velvet.
Red Velvet. And she's been wrestling every week and been looking better each week, I think. Mm-hmm.
Well, this was only her second singles match back, but yeah, she's been looking better and better.
And she addressed Toni Storm after her match while she was sitting in the ring. We didn't completely get to hear everything she was saying, but she definitely is coming after Toni Storm and the women's world title. So what do you make of her chances? And so is she third in line then, or can she jump the line, being a former champion? Well, and also, she never lost the belt.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's why I'm surprised, unless I feel like Thunder Rosa is not ready yet from her injury to be like a main storyline person. I'm surprised that they're pushing Deonna Purrazzo first.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I can think of is that if Thunder Rosa was just like hesitant to be wrestling at that level so soon back from an injury, especially one where she'd been out of the ring for so long. But yeah, there's a ready-made story there. You know, she never lost her belt. She had to relinquish it. Toni was the interim champion. Now she's the real champion. Thunder Rosa needs to get her belt back. But now that we have these women of like a high caliber showing up because before I was like, who's going to wrestle Toni Storm and be on her level? But now we have all these contenders. It's hard to decide what to go with first.
Yeah, and then we also have, coming out of Toni Storm's own camp, we have her greatest admirer, perhaps, Mariah May, mm-hmm. who has also been very impressive since debuting. Mm-hmm. And she just defeated... who did she defeat this week?
Lady Frost. No.
Yeah, Lady Frost. Yeah. It was Lady Frost on Dynamite. And she looked good, even though, like I said, Lady Frost still looked a little sloppy. Mariah May looked on it. Very professional. You can tell she has her whole package together, and her whole presentation is very polished. And yeah, I look forward to a feud between Storm and May. What do you make of her?
I think she's been great. I think that they're going to hold off on that feud for a long time, which I think is good because I think her being Tony's sidekick for now still has a lot that they can do with it. So I hope they don't rush that. But yeah, she's been great. I want more women from Stardom to come over, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we got a couple more. We got the lady who hasn't debuted yet, but the word is she's coming soon. Mercedes Moné. A lot of these moves we've heard building up the division with people like Mariah May, with the return of Serena Deeb, are things to bolster the division for the debut of Mercedes Moné. Because they're really going to try to make a splash with Moné, because to have landed her, they have to have given her a lot of money, or Monet, whichever you want to refer to it as.
That's terrible.
So they've got to definitely put a focus on the women's division, and they need women who can wrestle at a high level. So then that's another question: does she come in right away and wrestle for the world title, or is she a special attraction, just kind of doing her own thing at first, Because I think we're going to see her debut in March. I think
that's what I read, was after Revolution.
After Revolution.
After Revolution, there's 2 big shows, like in big cities. And so this is just internet rumors, but it was from some sort of wrestling source. I forget which one. I read a lot of news this weekend, so it all blends together.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, we have another lady returning, this time from injury. Jamie Hayter returning very soon. Another former world champion. So the women's title scene pretty packed. And she'll definitely be coming after Toni Storm as well, I think. So the bullseye is squarely affixed on the back of Miss Storm. And where does Hayter fit in? Is she going to have to take a spot in the mid card, kind of? Don't you think?
No.
She's not going to be, or they can't fit all these women in the title picture.
Why? They fit a bunch of men in the title picture.
They're not going to put 6 women in the title picture.
Women. Yeah, no, that's too many. Yeah, I don't know. I think that she's going to be like in the big women's match at All In August. So
you think so?
Yeah, definitely. So she's going to be in the picture at some point before then for that match to make sense. They're not going to have her wrestling for like the TBS title.
Yeah. What I would say, is maybe have Monet come in, win the title right away from Storm, and then hold it until All In, and maybe lose it to Hayter there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do personally.
So Serena Deeb and Deonna Purrazzo just get their dreams dashed right away.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they don't get to win it yet.
No.
I mean, it's not like they're going to die. It's not like they're going away or anything.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes with the women's division, that's what seems to happen. You challenge for the title, and then when you're done challenging for the title, you're just gone.
Yeah.
Britt Baker, gone. Riho, gone.
Hikaru
Shida on Rampage only. Like, it's very odd.
Yeah, just not everyone can be the champion,
Mm-hmm.
And if you have Mercedes Moné coming in and Jamie Hayter returning and 80,000 people in England, then I think you do Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter. I think that's what you do.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That's what I would do. If not for the world title, definitely do that match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could do something else for the world title, but I would definitely do Monet versus Hayter, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Dylan. Dylan from Last Week in Wrestling,
Hey, buddy.
stopping by. Happy Monday. Thank you. So that's our look at that's our closer look at Toni Storm and the women's title picture. Hopefully, and that's probably just confused things even more. It didn't really make anything clearer, but it's not very clear right now. I guess that's the whole idea. Is that the women's title picture is kind of muddied right now, with all these challengers emerging seemingly week by week. We're getting a new challenger emerging for the women's world title, so it's a pretty exciting time for the women's division. So very cool. And yeah, let's keep it going, Tony Khan. Keep bringing some quality women in, and let's get the women's division on the right track. Yeah.
Can I just praise Tony Khan for a second? I feel like every time there's like a big complaint that we like harp on and harp on and harp on forever, he eventually fixes it. It's like he's like listening to what the fans are saying are wrong with his products, and then he's like working actively to correct those problems. You know,
I feel so.
Because they complained that there were no stories, and then we got a bunch of awesome stories.
Mm-hmm.
And we complained about the women's division and how it was like lackluster and getting no attention, and now it's getting all this attention, and he's making it his like focus of 2024. He's a sharp guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely keeps an eye on what the fans want. That's for sure.
Probably because he spends so much time on Twitter.
Yeah. Well,
or X.
Well, he better. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's running a very niche product, you know, so he better appease the fans that are there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's running, you know, like 800 some thousand, 900 some thousand for Dynamite, so he could literally have time to read all their thoughts on the throughout the week on X, you know. So next, we're gonna do we're gonna do a segment that we call "Where's This Going?" where we take an incident or a happening from TV this week, and then we ask, where's this going? You know, what's happening? What's this leading to? So let's start off. Samoa Joe, when he began his diatribe on Dynamite to open the show Wednesday night, he said world title opportunities aren't going to be given out anymore. They're going to have to be earned. So what did he mean by this? Kay, what do you think? Where's this going? What are we going to see? Opportunities must be earned.
So there's a few ways that this could go. There's the get in line ranking version, which I kind of think is what he was saying. There's the MJF version where he used to make people jump through like a million hoops before they could get a title match, which I wouldn't mind seeing him do. And then there's like a you want a title shot, he wants a title shot, fight it out kind of a thing. I don't. It was not clear.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely not like a checklist where like a job application that you need to fill out to get a title shot. But yeah, I would love it if he had like, you have to go through these 5 guys first before you can get to me, kind of a thing. Make it exciting. Or like do a gauntlet match for who's going to be next. I love a good gauntlet match.
So
AEW doesn't do those, do they?
No.
They should.
Yeah, those like gauntlet matches that take up an hour.
Yeah, I love them.
You
don't like them?
No, I'm not saying I have anything against them. I just they don't do them.
When the last guy comes in all fresh and he's like facing some poor schmo who's been like in 4 matches already, and he's like barely on his feet. It's good stuff. Good drama.
Stuff. No, I agree.
What do you think it means?
I think your suggestions were pretty good. Yeah, I think some of those things, and with the rankings, with AEW's rankings returning, I should say. Of course, we've had rankings, here, but with the official AEW rankings returning, he could be referring to something along those lines, where he's going to have the contenders battle it out against each other. Which I think he could very well be referring to. So, we'll see.
Didn't he refer to a championship committee last week? Do you remember that? And I was like, who's on the championship committee? Let me look back at my notes real quick.
I think he may have. Because the last time we heard about the championship committee was
never. He was the first person to ever say anything about it.
Oh, was it? Oh, no, that's right.
I think it was the week we didn't do a show.
That's right. Because we were talking about who was on the championship committee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's on the champion? It was from January 10th, Dynamite. Joe mentioned it. Yeah. So, like,
who's on the championship
is it going to be
committee?
like, maybe it is an application. You should write like an essay as to why you want to wrestle for the belt, like a college entry essay, and the committee has to judge you and rank you that way.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll be saying that.
We'll see audition tapes like for Survivor.
Let's hope not. Up next, Young Bucks and their new personalities, Matthew and Nicholas.
Their passport names.
Which
is such a better thing to say than my given name.
Yeah.
My passport name.
So they definitely are douchebags now, with the twin mustaches as well. And just coming in, and they haven't done too much yet. They kind of gave Alex Marvez a hard time a little. They gave Top Flight a little a hard time. But, so where is this going? Kay, what do you think?
I've already said this, and I still think it's the best idea ever, so I'm going to say it again. They need to set up really awesome matches for Dynamite and then have them come in and ruin them and replace them with themselves in the match to piss the fans off and make them actually hateable.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good way to go about it.
Or like cut in line, or somehow affect the rankings so they're ranked like number 2, but like do it like sneakily but on camera, kind of a thing. And I think be mean to the ones that are like super baby faces that everybody loves.
Yeah.
Like, be mean to Mark Briscoe. I don't know anyone that doesn't like Mark Briscoe. He's just very jovial and likable.
Yeah, and you're talking about going, manipulating the rankings. Here's one spot that I think would be really opportune for them to do that. Big Bill and Ricky Starks have a defense coming up against Sting and Darby Allin for the tag team titles. I think that would be a great time for Nicholas and Matthew to manipulate the rankings and put themselves in that spot, and they take the title shot against Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and they win the titles.
And so then at Revolution, they go in as the champions?
Exactly. They go in as the champions and have Sting and Darby Allin come in as the challengers, yes.
And win them?
And win them, yeah.
And then vacate them?
And then vacate them, yes. Yeah. That's what I would have them do.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Among other things, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think we're just going to see them, just overall be dicks to people and have it escalate. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying the new personas so far.
I think, too, like, messing up, like, wrestlers' routines backstage for us to see. Like, whether like in the middle of like jogging or like on a treadmill or like lifting weights or something, or if they're in the middle of an interview with Renee, just coming up and being like, "Oh, you didn't sign your time card right here. Can you? Sorry to interrupt. Can you come in? We got to take care of business real quick." You know, like right when they're in the middle of like an impassioned speech.
Yeah, I like it.
Like causing disruption to the flow of the show.
Yeah, I like it.
Something to remind us of our bosses, you know, so we harbor some anger, as I think a lot of people don't like their bosses. I like my boss, but especially if he's watching. But yeah.
I like it. I think that's a good suggestion. Yeah. Yeah, they'll definitely get these new characters over. I mean, yeah, very easily.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got coming up this week the Swerve Hangman Dealer's Choice deal, where Swerve has picked Toa Leona to face Hangman Page, and Hangman has seemingly picked Rob Van Dam to face Swerve Strickland.
Can I just say, it better be Rob Van Dam?
It better be Rob Van Dam.
Because if he gave that hint and it's not Rob Van Dam,
yeah,
that's going to be messed up.
Yeah.
Like super messed up.
Yeah, you can't say, no, it has to be Rob Van Dam. You can't say the whole effing show and then not bring Rob Van Dam.
That match is going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So how do you see that shaking out?
Well, I think Rob Van Dam's losing.
You think RVD's going to lose to Swerve?
Yeah, and I think Toa's going to lose his first ever singles match.
And Toa's going to lose to Hangman.
Yeah. Yeah. I think both of these men are losing. What do you think?
I don't know. I could see him do it either way, definitely.
I mean, I think if they do lose, it's going to be because the other person interfered in their match.
Really? You don't think Rob Van Dam can beat Swerve Strickland cleanly?
Has Rob Van Dam had a singles match in AEW?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think young Rob Van Dam could definitely beat Swerve Strickland cleanly. Current Rob Van Dam, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in great shape, but like cardio wise, towards the end of those tag matches, he seemed like he was getting a little winded.
Mm-hmm.
Understandably, because he was like all over the place. But yeah, I don't know.
But so you see them both winning the matches, and then where does that take their feud? Then they're still undefeated. They're still both undefeated on the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
And then we're gonna eventually get a three-way match at Revolution.
You think so?
I think so. Don't you?
Yeah, I do. Whether they lose these dealer's choice matches or not, I think we'll get a three-way title match at Revolution. That's the way it's looking. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want. You know?
Yeah, who would you be for?
I am for Swerve. What are you talking about?
For Swerve.
Yes. Who are you for? If you don't say Swerve, you can get out of this house right now.
I don't know.
You're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It is Swerve's time.
Probably for Swerve.
Yeah.
Probably for Swerve.
He's so good and consistent and awesome on the mic. And he's got a faction that he's built around himself that is fantastic.
I like him. I like Hangman too, you know.
I know you do, but Hangman's had his time in the sun.
Yeah, but
Time to take a step back.
We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I think a lot of people are just counting Samoa Joe out of it. You know, they're kind of acting as though Samoa Joe doesn't have a chance to retain his belt.
That is how I am acting.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people are acting.
He just
So
seems like a transitional champion.
he does kind of, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I like him. I mean, I'm fine if he keeps it, as long as Swerve gets another shot and gets it eventually.
All right, so we talked about Sting and Darby going after the tag team titles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where's this going? Hook standing up to Samoa Joe and Brian Cage, both on Dynamite. Where's this going?
Doesn't it make you think of like the little kid on the playground, or like the little yappy dog that's like barking at like the mailman, like know your role, kid, kind of?
That's what you think?
That's what it reminds me of. Yeah.
So you're not liking, you're not enjoying Hook? You think he's just asking for a beating?
I mean, it just seems odd. Like, he hasn't wrestled half the guys on the roster, and you're going after the two largest guys first.
Yeah.
And you want an FTW match, which is essentially a hardcore match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want it against someone who I've never seen in a hardcore match. Like, when you have other people who are well-versed in hardcore matches that might be good contenders to go up against your title if you want some tough competition. Not that Brian Cage won't be tough competition, but there's just I'm glad that Brian Cage is getting a title shot, even if it's for the FTW title. And it was, as he said in his promo, it was originally his title in AEW.
Brian Cage is the FTW title is an esteemed title. You know, Sabu's held it, Taz has held it.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm not saying
it's not it's not a. I wouldn't write the belt off so quickly. You know,
I'm not writing it off quickly. I'm saying it's the lowest on the totem pole of AEW belts.
Yeah,
because it's not
probably
an official belt, right? Like it's a Taz awarded it to Brian Cage belt.
Yeah.
But after that terrible FTW match, not terrible, disappointing FTW match between Hook and Yuta, I would like Hook to go up against someone who I know is a hardcore wrestler and can give us a hardcore match. Just so Hook can prove that he can be in a hardcore match.
Like whom?
Like Jon Moxley, for example. I don't normally advocate for seeing more Jon Moxley, but I would like to see him in an FTW ring with Hook.
Okay, in an FTW match?
Match, yeah.
I see. But yeah, I don't know what's up with him challenging Samoa Joe and Brian Cage. I guess they're further trying to take this character and show us he doesn't have any fear and he wants to take on the biggest guys on the roster. And that's his thing, yeah.
So, but where do you go after Brian Cage? Like, he's the literal biggest.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where they go from here.
Lance Archer, maybe? He's smaller.
Lance Archer, right. And then does Brian Cage give him a beating? And then does Lance Archer give him a beating? And then what after that? Then is he just over? I mean, he'll still be over after that. I mean,
you think he's going to lose the belt to Brian Cage?
I don't know. I don't know.
Brian Cage eats pins for dinner for AEW. I think he's losing to Hook.
Brian Cage will lose to Hook?
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They make Brian Cage wrestle like he's just a normal guy.
Yeah, instead of like a super mega Hulk.
Yeah. Like anybody can just grab a wrist lock on him, do this, do that, whatever. Like they don't make you wrestle him like he's a Hulk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's like the Hulk that wears the Iron Man Hulk suit, you know? Bigger than a Hulk. Iron Man Hulk.
I say.
Yeah.
That's how they should make you wrestle him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they definitely need to treat him like more of a
unstoppable machine.
Yeah, more of a special attraction, special force, whatever you like to call them. Yeah. And lastly, where's this going? Daniel Garcia misted by Julia Hart at the end of that trios steel cage match on Collision. Will he be possessed? As we saw with Sky Blue, and as we kind of saw with, who was the other person?
Willow Nightingale.
Willow Nightingale. Was she?
She was possessed for like a week.
Yeah,
and then
she was a little weird.
And then she was halfway possessed. Like they only did the makeup on half her face.
Yeah.
And then the next week she was fine.
So what? Yeah, what's going to be up with Daniel Garcia? He got it all over him.
Oh my god, that was like the best misting she's ever done.
It was very good. It looked like a special effect in a movie. Yeah,
it was awesome.
It looked excellent. So what's going to become of this? He's going to be her like slave. Yeah.
Can I just say, I hope nothing.
Really?
Yeah, like I like this big push his character is getting. I like that he's getting pushed on his like determination and his wrestling skills. I don't want him to get tangled up with like voodoo magic House of Black shit.
Too late.
But like Pac was misted, and then he missed like 2 weeks of wrestling, and then came back with an eye patch on, and then took off the eye patch and was totally fine. But that was a Malachi Black misting.
Yeah, that's different than Julia Hart. Yeah,
witch misting.
Yeah.
I mean, like, can you see Daniel Garcia coming out with the black eye makeup?
Yes.
And it not looking ridiculous?
Yes, wrestling. Yes, I can see it happening. I can see it all happening, yes.
But it looks good in your mind?
Sure, yeah, why not?
No, because that's ridiculous.
You don't think they're going to do this angle?
Is he going to go for his dance and then just be too sad to dance?
I think so.
Yeah. I will not care about that.
I think so.
His character is just like really getting over with the fans. They don't need to do that to him.
I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's what we're going to see.
And it'll be like a struggle and a fight for him to get his dance back. And once he finally gets his dance back, it'll be this triumphant dance.
I think so.
That's not the story we need around Daniel Garcia for his big push in 2024.
I feel like that's what we're going to see.
Do you think he's going to join the House of Black?
No.
Good.
No.
He's like a little stick figure compared to the rest of those guys.
No, he shouldn't. Speaking of which, I don't know if this was in the news or something, but I'll talk about something that was reported today. Was just talking about that steel cage, the trios match. Dave Meltzer was saying something about how, and everyone on the internet was talking about how the specifically Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black don't want to take pins, and Buddy Matthews came back and he said something to the effect of like, look how many losses I've taken, look at my record, what are you talking about? But with Malachi Black, I think the rumor could be true where Malachi Black doesn't want to take pins. I mean, I think that could be a lot of the reason why he has stayed in tag team and trios matches, why they haven't used him as a single star, is because he's perhaps averse to taking pins from certain people. And so they keep him in tag and trios matches so he doesn't have to,
Mm-hmm.
So that would make sense. Now, I don't know, of course. I don't know. But like I said, that's what Dave Meltzer was reporting. And there have been other places to report that as well. And there have been multiple places to also say that it seems Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews are going back to WWE as soon as they can. But I think Malachi Black's contract is through 2027.
Whoa!
So, that's 3 more years.
Why would you sign such a long contract?
I guess he thought he was going to be fine there, but I think he thought they were going to use him as like the man. They think, oh, we got this WWE guy, fantastic. Let's use him as the man now. And then he came in. They realized, he realized that he's going to have to be expected to win and lose just like everyone else, and not so happy with that now. I mean, this is just my guess from rumblings I've heard on the internet, and maybe wanting out. Plus, his wife works with WWE, so.
Yeah, but when she sees the rockin' women's division that they're going to have going on at AEW, she might want to jump ship.
Yeah, true. And all this may be untrue. I don't know. Dave Meltzer's been wrong plenty in the past. He's been right a lot. He's been wrong a lot. So I don't know.
So what happens when you say a lot? It just kind of averages out, right?
Yeah, but also depends where you're getting your information,
Mm-hmm.
Are the people trustworthy or not? Or do they have it wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have an understanding of the situation wrong or not? Or have they been fed bad information intentionally or not? That could be the case. So who knows? You never know what's going on with these companies. But that's the drama that was going on centered around this cage match, and with House of Black specifically. And Buddy Matthews answered back at Meltzer and was like I said, basically was like, dude, do a little research. Look at my record. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Not me. Of course, Matthews didn't have much to say about Black, though.
Black hasn't wrestled a singles match in forever.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. And like I said, that this would explain why he's not been wrestling singles matches, why he's not in the main events, why he's kind of in the same as Miro. All right, you don't want to lose? I'll put you on TV, but you'll be in the fucking mid card. We'll use you sometimes.
Mm.
But if you're not gonna lose matches like everybody else, you can't be in the main event.
House of Black is in the main event all the time, like almost every other week on Collision.
I mean singles main events.
Okay.
I mean singles main events. Yeah, you can't be in the singles main events if you're not going to lose matches. If you're going to refuse to lose matches, and not work with people. I hope that's not the
case with Malachi Black. That would make me think less of him.
Well, obviously, yeah. I hope not. But that's the word that was going on the internet today. So, all right. Coming up next, the top five. The AEW top 5 ratings, where every week we do our gosh darned best to bring you the top 5 men, the top 5 women, and the top 5 teams in AEW. We have a secret formula that can never be cracked and it will never be given away. And we will take it to our watery graves.
Well, that was worse that time.
I know.
Can I just clarify that this is our top 5 for this past week in AEW?
That's what I just fucking said.
No, but I want to make it clear that it's not like, unlike the AEW rankings, which is over their 2024 year so far, ours is just looking at the last week of wrestling, which is why ours fluctuates so much from week to week. I feel like that's important to emphasize how we set ourselves apart from AEW's rankings.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to start with?
Men.
All right. Number 5, moving down a spot from number 4 last week, even though he did win the main event of Dynamite over Minoru Suzuki, Adam Copeland. Number 4, back in the top 5, Hangman Adam Page, after getting the win over Penta El Cerro Miedo on Dynamite. Number 3, back in the top 5, after retaining his belt, the AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy. Number 2, back in the top 5, Swerve Strickland. And number 1, staying number 1, the AEW World Champion, Samoa Joe. So number 1, Samoa Joe. Number 2, Swerve Strickland. Number 3, Orange Cassidy. Number 4, Hangman Adam Page. Number 5, Adam Copeland. And so now we're going to do the top 5 teams. So number 5, making their way back to the chart, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. They, of course, got a tag team win on Collision over Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. Number 4 team, all the way down from number 1 last week, Bullet Club Gold, the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. They were not in action this week. Number 3 on the list, staying number 3 from last week, Big Bill and Ricky Starks, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Number 2, back in the top 5, FTR and Daniel Garcia, of course, won the Collision main event. And back at number 1 after being number 2 last week, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, who successfully defended their belts against Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. And so that's for the for number 1, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Number 2, FTR and Daniel Garcia. Number 3, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Number 4, Bullet Club Gold. Number 5, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. And for the women, number 5, back on the list, Mariah May, after getting a win over Lady Frost. Number 4, down 2 spots from number 2. She didn't wrestle this week, Deonna Purrazzo. Number 3, back in the top 5 after not wrestling for 2 years, Serena Deeb. At number 2, up 1 spot from number 3 last week, Thunder Rosa, after beating Red Velvet this week. And staying at number 1, the AEW Women's World Champion, Toni Storm. So that's number 1, Toni Storm. Number 2, Thunder Rosa. Number 3, Serena Deeb. Number 4, Deonna Purrazzo. And number 5, Mariah May. And those are your AEW top 5 lists. All right, so up next, we're going to have one of our quickly growing fan favorite events. This is a segment called Wrestling Fashion Do's and Don'ts with Kay Fabulous.
Thank you, Asa.
Do.
If your gimmick is you are an ice maiden, do wear the severed head of a snow leopard with glowing blue eyes on your cape like Lady Frost.
Don't.
If you're a champion, don't wear a broken down version of your belt as a hat like Julia Hart. There's a reason other wrestlers wear their belts around their waists.
Don't.
Unless you're sponsored by Pepto-Bismol, don't wear the alarming shade of pink Commander wore.
Do.
If you're a virtuosa, do wear a top of delicate feathers like Deonna Purrazzo.
Don't.
If you're an ROH guy trying to get over in AEW, don't wear pants that are gathered and make you look like a Macy's balloon like Shane Taylor.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. And thank you, Kay Fabulous.
Mm.
And that was Wrestling Fashion Do's and Don'ts with Kay Fabulous. And now, folks, it is time for your AEW News Roundup. So all the news that is fit to print this week.
Yeah, it starts with January 22nd.
AEW Collision ratings up despite NFL and UFC competition. Collision averaged 441,000 viewers. That's up 10.3%. As I say, largest so far for 2024.
Yes.
Yeah, drew a .12 rating in the 18 through 49 demo. That's up 20%, so not bad for Collision. 441,000, that's headed in the right way. Adam Copeland explains the origins of the Cope Open to Sports Illustrated. Quote, while the story with Christian plays out, I thought, let's do this fascinating side story. We can use it as a vehicle for some young guys to get some different experiences. AEW Dynamite viewership and 18 through 49 demo rating were down. Dynamite averaged 837,000 viewers. That was down 6.1%. That was still the second highest total of 2024 thus far. Drew a .27 rating in the 18 through 49 demo. That was down 18.2% in the demo. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer writes that the belief from AEW is that Kazuchika Okada and Mercedes Moné will both be starting with AEW soon. Nothing is set until Mercedes Moné signs a contract. And for Okada, Meltzer has heard that he hasn't made up his mind between AEW and WWE quite yet. Tony Khan tweeted on Friday saying that 2024 is the next 2021 for AEW. Of course, 2021, the year AEW signed a shocking amount of free agents that really made AEW what it was to become. Meltzer says, quote, Tony Khan has been especially enthusiastic about 2024 between new signings and returns over the next few months. This year is especially as important as it is the last one in the current deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. AEW announces 4 CMLL stars coming to the promotion. Volador Jr., Mystico, Hechicero, and Mascara Dorado. They will be on Rampage this Friday. Matches not yet announced. Those guys are not to be missed. Definitely check out Rampage this Friday. And in a recent interview with Sports Illustrated, Samoa Joe explains the nope spot, where someone will do a top rope move. He just walks away, like, nope. He said, as a small youth in my younger days, if I saw something large or very destructive coming toward me, it was only natural to step aside. It's not rocket science. The cavemen understood this. So pretty good explanation there from Samoa Joe. And folks, that is the show for this week. That is AEW Weekly. I want to thank you for tuning in. The audio version will be out tomorrow at some point, so you can catch us on wherever you get podcasts. It'll be up, and you can catch us. Also, we will be guests on This Week is Wrestling, the watch along.
Last Week in
Wrestling. We'll be guests on Last Week in Wrestling watch along of AEW Dynamite Wednesday night. If you want to check us out there, it will be played on our YouTube channel here, so you can catch it here or on the Last Week in Wrestling channel. But we'll be on that watch along. Try and get a word in edgewise sometimes. We'll be on that on Wednesday night. We'll be on the Rampage watch along on Friday night as well. 10 p.m. getting to check out the EMLL guys, the CMLL guys. And Saturday, we will be on the Collision watch along for Last Week in Wrestling. So they're having us on 3 times this week. We will be there on some AEW watch along. So catch us, and they'll all be right here on the No Bones About Wrestling YouTube channel as well. And of course, Sunday, we'll be doing the Retro Wrestling Watch Along show. And this month is all about the last month of Sting's career. So last week we watched NWA Clash of the Champions 1. This week we will be watching another classic Sting show. Haven't picked it out just yet, but watch our X account and I will make an announcement. We'll be watching another classic WCW show. featuring a classic match from Sting. So just watch for an announcement, and sure to have a fun show. I love old WCW shows. So that'll be a good time. And that is Sunday, 12:45. Tune in, and we talk about the card, talk about stuff a little, and then we talk about, and then at 1 p.m., we start the show. And, you can watch all those on WWE Network on Peacock. At some point this week, I will have something to say about Vince McMahon and the WWE. So stay tuned for that as well. And I want to thank you all again for watching us. Kay, you have anything to say?
Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos as they come out, or subscribe on our podcast app, whatever podcast app you use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever.
Subscribe.
That way you don't miss a show.
Yeah, subscribe. Like us, share us with your friends, share us with your auntie, your grandma, everybody who likes wrestling.
Share us with your enemies.
Don't share us with your enemies. Fuck your enemies. Share us around, though. People like AEW, share us around. Please do. Because we like AEW, and we would like to build an audience, too. So help share us around, please. We would appreciate it very much. And in the words of Mick Foley, have a nice day, y'all. Bye.